lot has been made recently about characters in movies who people, especially men, especially young men, can relate to, and this also applies to older men who still are young at heart, I think. This has been called the literally me type of character. Like that guy's literally me. And I don't know where this phrase literally me officially started. I first started hearing it from a film aficionado who goes under the handle of Kino Corner, and he has a YouTube channel that's worth checking out. I like the guy. I think he's got some good insights. But the literally me character is someone who you relate to, even though he's obviously highly imperfect. In fact, it's the fact that he is highly imperfect that makes him relatable. The fact that there's a certain desperation about him, that he ardently wishes to accomplish some task, to bring about some sort of, I don't know what to call it. I don't know. For different characters, it's different things. But I think that the kind of film characters, and it's film characters that people talk about the most, because film is, it's the most accessible medium for especially younger people today. Film and video, the visual media are the most accessible. It's easier to watch a movie than to read a book, especially if you're a younger person today. I think that people should still read books. I think there is something to be gained from reading books, obviously, because I write books. Of course I would think that. But the literally me phenomenon is not just a cinematic phenomenon. It stems, I think, from literature originally, and there are various characters who could be called literally me characters in throughout the centuries of literature. I'll just start by talking about who the filmic literally me's are. There are people like Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, or Rupert Pupkin in King of Comedy, or most potently, I think, recently in recent years, someone like Joker / Arthur Fleck. But also, it seems that a lot of people have a very strong connection to Ryan Gosling's character in Drive, which is not a favorite movie of mine, but I think it's a good movie. It's a well-made movie, and it's interesting that this particular character brings this out. And it seems that Ryan Gosling kind of has the gift for it, just like you could say De Niro had a gift for it in his younger days, because he played both Travis Bickle and Rupert Pupkin, and Joaquin Phoenix, even though he's in his late 40s, also has a gift for it. His late 40s today, but Gosling also it also applies to his character in Blade Runner 2049, which I don't think did very well at the box office, but I think has achieved a certain cult status, much like its predecessor. Not as huge of a cult status as its predecessor, but still a significant one. So you've got these types of characters, all of whom are unhappy men, or unsatisfied men. Let's just say men who yearn to be a certain way or to do a certain thing, who feel driven to, the famous line in T.S. Eliot's poem, to disturb the universe. Do I dare disturb the universe, right? And J. Alfred Prufrock is very much of a literally me kind of character from literature. But I would also say that the unnamed narrator of Notes from Underground by Dostoevsky is literally me. I would also say Hamlet is a literally me. These are all characters who the audience, are brought into a certain relationship with, in spite of their imperfections, because of their imperfections, but because you sense that within them there is a desire to accomplish something that is relatable to you, that is not alienating, that they're all the things that are wrong with them, and sometimes they have quite a few things wrong with them or the matter with them, things that alienate them from the people around them, understandably. Like when Travis Bickle takes his date to the porno theater, not understanding how much of a social faux pas that is, just because he's so he just lives in his own world and doesn't get it, or whatever. There are other examples of that. All the ways in which Joker, Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix's Arthur Fleck / Joker, all the things that he does to annoy people or to turn people against him or to make people think that he's mockable. You can understand why Murray makes him the butt of a joke, and it's nothing personal. It's just it's just showbiz, and he doesn't understand. Murray doesn't understand how deeply Arthur Fleck feels this as a betrayal, because Arthur / Joker looked up to Murray, saw him as a father figure. Even he has these fantasies about Murray. Again, Robert De Niro, but in this case, De Niro's no longer the literally me himself. He's an antagonist. But Arthur dreamed of him being like a father to him. When he just sees him on TV as this talk show host, but when he finally comes into contact with him, it's when he's being made fun of by him. His stand-up routine, his kind of hapless stand-up routine where he makes these jokes that don't land, but he doesn't understand that they aren't landing because he has his own idea of humor, right? His notion of a joke is not what most people think of as jokes. So again, this endears him to the viewer, or it does to a lot of people. Now, another issue with the literally me sort of character is you always have these pedantic, these irritatingly pedantic critics who come along and say, "You're missing the point. You're not supposed to relate to these people. Arthur Fleck is a madman. He's a psycho. Travis Bickle is a psycho. You're not supposed to think." I forgot to mention Fight Club, of course, another one. Tyler Durden is is like a psycho cult leader. You're not supposed to relate to these people, you stupid viewer. How dare you feel that way? And if these people had a point, these critics, if they had a point, it gets lost somewhat in their very condescending tone. And I think there is a point to what they're saying if they made it in a way that did not betray such contempt for the people that they're addressing. Because the people that they're addressing look up to these characters not because they think they're heroes, not because they think they're characters who represent some pinnacle of virtue and goodness, but they find them relatable. It's sort of like when you see yourself, but it's a slightly more out there version of yourself. And this is how, not to make this about me, not to be narcissistic here, but this is how I've long approached writing. This is in a lot of what I've written, a lot of my fiction. I create a character, a protagonist, who is me, but just a lot further gone than me. So he's somebody that I can relate to, in a Jungian, as a kind of Jungian shadow, right? So that's what people mean when they say Travis Bickle is literally me, or Tyler Durden is literally me, or Arthur Fleck Joker is literally me. They don't mean this person is a hero. You see, I guess that's what I'm just stumbling upon this right now, but I think that's what these condescending, pedantic naysayers don't get. Like they say, oh, it's just these stupid young men, these teenage. There's a misandric edge, misandrous, I should say. I think that's the word. That's the proper word. There's a misandrist edge to what they're saying, because it's like, oh, if men can relate to this, especially if young men can relate to this, then that means there's something really sinister and bad about it, because we've been trained to think that a man's most ardent desires are deeply unsettling things. And they can be unsettling, but so can women. I mean, so can all humans. But stuff that appeals to men is like, it's kind of looked down upon, or looked upon with suspicion by those who think they know better, by those who want to assume a snobbish posture of condescension and contempt. So this is just a little bit I wanted to say about the literally me phenomenon, and I want to talk about it in relation to a book that I'm reading right now. That's a very famous book, and it's something it's a book I've read before, but I'm rereading it now because I find it to be of great interest to me. And that book is The Sorrows of Young Werner. The Sorrows of Young Werner by Goethe, the German author Goethe. And I'm going to talk about that, I think, in my next video. But for now, in this video, in this preamble, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the literally me phenomenon, and the way that the naysayers because I think it's basically understood that these aren't perfect, these aren't good, these aren't even necessarily good guys. You know, in some cases they're severely messed up guys, but they're guys that we see ourselves in, whether we want to or not. And you know, there's an honesty, or there's a cathartic quality to seeing yourself, even if it's an exaggerated version of yourself. You know, even if it's a version of yourself that's that emphasizes the shadow. So these are my thoughts. This is my preamble on the Literally Me subject. And next time I want to talk a little bit more about Werther, because I think he is a character who also fits into the Literally Me category, but is maybe one that's lesser known or hasn't been talked about as much. All right, thanks for watching. I'll talk to y'all soon.